Hey, what's going on, dudes and dudettes? I am the Mystical Green Beanie, and welcome to another episode of Hitting the Books, the show where I take a comic that I've read this week and I review it. And today I am reviewing the first 6 issues of Tom King's Vision. Woo! Okay, yeah, that's... I have a lot of feelings regarding this comic, and I'll get to my feelings on it eventually, but first, let me lay out the general story for the first 6 issues. So, Vision has apparently left the Scarlet Witch for some reason. I might have missed something, I'm sorry, I haven't been keeping up with their relationship, but at the start of this book, something happened and they're no longer together, and then Vision turned around and built himself a family of his own, consisting of a wife and 2 teenage kids. And yeah, since this is the mainstream Marvel Universe, where you're either a bigot or an SJW, because there is no in-between in the Marvel Universe, the world reacts the way you think. And they try to live a normal life, but one day the Vision is off doing Avenger stuff, and his family is attacked by a supervillain, and Viv gets mortally wounded. And this causes the Vision's robo-wife to savagely beat him to death, and then she buries him in the backyard of their pleasant suburban neighborhood. And after this traumatic event, the Visions try to push forward, but they're just met with even more bigotry. And then this treatment pushes Vin to almost killing one of his classmates. And then the school has to deal with the whole situation, and it's really cool, and it's really disturbing as well. But then Viv is saved by the Vision and Tony Stark, who in this story acts a lot like pre-Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark, and I found that to be kind of refreshing. But yeah, Viv is saved, and then she returns home to her father, and she returns to school as well, and she's even asked out by a boy, the same boy who her brother almost killed. Meanwhile, Virginia is being blackmailed because somebody recorded her burying the supervillain's body, and then she goes to confront them after trying to ignore the situation for so long. But then it turns out the blackmailer is actually the father of the boy who has a crush on Viv. And then there's an altercation which basically ends with the father getting severely injured and the boy dying. And this causes Viv to slip into a deep depression, and it's a really interesting thing to see in this book, but I'll get into that later. Anyways, later on, one of the neighbor's dogs gets loose and it finds the supervillain's body that's buried in the backyard, but then the dog activates a failsafe in the villain's body, and then the dog is electrocuted, and the Vision goes to investigate the situation, and he sees the body, and he sees the dog, and he calculates everything that happened, and he doesn't react like the Vision. In fact, he reacts more like that of a concerned father and a concerned family man, and he covers everything up, and it's really cool, but also really creepy and really disturbing, and that's more or less where the book is at right now. And yeah, if you're reading this book already, you know that I skimmed over a lot of material, but that's for the people who haven't read the book yet, because I want them to be surprised by this book to at least some degree. But now let's talk about the art, because the art in this book is really weird. The art feels a lot like the art here feels a lot like art that I'd see in like a zany, action-packed, goofy Marvel book, and it just does not fit the tone of this comic at all. But I also think that's the point. And if that was done intentionally, then fuck yeah, that is amazing. It really adds to the creepiness of this book because the subject matter is just so dark. And when you see these really bright, happy, colorful, vibrant characters vocalizing these really depressing and disturbing topics, it's just a stroke of genius in my opinion, and I feel like Gabriel Walta really should be noted for that. Now on to the things that I loved and didn't love about this book. So actually, I'm just gonna say I loved it. I loved all of it. And even the things that I didn't like were completely overshadowed by the things that I did like, because this book is just so amazing. But one of the main things I loved about this book is how Blade Runner it feels. This book begs a lot of really interesting questions as they relate to human nature and why man behaves the way it does. And as synthetic semi-organic beings who are reflections of a reflection of a man who tried to play God, who is God? And by extension, who is God relative to them? Also, this book asks the question, what is normal? And okay, it is a little weird that people are asking that question when they live in a universe where mutants and inhumans and literal gods walk among them, but it's still an interesting question nonetheless. Because while the Vision and his family were all built in like a lab, they're still capable of learning, and speech, and sex, and emotion, sometimes to the point where they have emotional outbursts just like humans do. Virginia has a lot of these moments as well. In fact, I'd say that she doesn't even act like a robot. All the things she does, no matter how violent or how cruel, is for the sake of her family. And it's hard to argue on that front that she's not behaving like that of a human mother. The book also brings up contradictions in human behavior and how unethical and two-faced it makes humanity seem. Yeah, this book, much like a lot of truly great science fiction, asked a lot of really tough morality questions about artificial intelligence, and I really latched onto all that stuff, and I really loved it. But yeah, Vision by Tom King is simply amazing. It's one of my favorite books currently. I can't recommend this any higher. If you are reading it, are you loving it just like I am? If not, just go and read it. It's really worth it. It's great. I love it a lot. And if you're really into science fiction, this is the book for you. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts. If you like this video, hit the like button, share, support the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, all you gotta do is subscribe. I'm the Mystical Green Beanie. Thanks for watching, and as always, until next time, adios, nachos.